Good morning. Welcome to Growing Home Acres. I'm down in the woods today. So I'm down here working on a certain D4 that lasted an hour and a half with me at the controls before it broke down. I finally got parts for it. I finally got a replacement pony motor. And by replacement, what I'm doing is I'm going to pull the old pony motor off and replace it with a 12 volt motor and gearbox. And let me show you what I got going on. So on this D4, because it's an old machine, it's a 63, so you've got your big main engine up here, and then back here underneath this intake plenum you have a 2-cylinder. You can see the spark plug right there, a 2-cylinder pony motor. It's a starter motor. You start that and it spins, and it takes the it spins the big motor. Well, mine's broke down. The pony motor itself seems to have blown up. So what I'm going to start doing, and I'm not going to video the disassembly. That's tedious, and really there's not, I guess there's really not a whole lot to show. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start disassembling, and I have to take off, so I've got to take off the air cleaner here, the throttle linkage, possibly I have to disconnect all of the hydraulic lines for the lift. I'm going to try and get around that to get this off. I have to take this dash loose. You can see this. You can see that's the crankshaft with that hand starter pulley on it. I got to pull this dash panel loose. So once that air cleaner comes off, I have to take off this top intake plenum. Not the plenum. It's an intake tube for the air cleaner. I've got to unbolt all of that and take it off. I have to take this fuel tank off. That's the fuel tank for the little motor. There's the air cleaner for the little motor and the air intake. All of this has to come off. It's quite involved. And then what's got to go back on when I'm done is the dash, that air cleaner, this intake plenum. There's a couple things that have to be blocked off to make it run properly when I get it put back together. I've never done anything like this before. I've never tried to tackle a project this big, but it is what it is. Whether I want to tackle it or not, I don't have any choice if I'm going to get this thing running again. So I'm going to get started on it, and that's it. I got a couple plates I'm going to have to make. This is probably going to be a 3 or 4 day project. I have a friend who lives up the street that is used to be a big engine mechanic, and I'm going to call him and let him know that I'm starting on it. And if he has time this week, maybe he can come and give me a hand. The weather's supposed to be really good this week, so if I have to work on this every day to get it running, that's what I'm going to do. You'll see that I've already got the floorboards taken out. I don't really know how much of the floorboard I had to take out, but it's all taken out so I can get at a lot of this stuff. So that's it. That's what I'm working on. So I'll come back when I get some progress. Hey, welcome to Growing Home Acres. Dozer edition. I'm back working on the dozer today, as you can see. So I got the pony motor pulled off. Now you can see here's the pony motor pulled off, disassembled. Somebody had rebuilt this motor sometime in the past, and I never want to call people's work shoddy, but there was some issues with the work. I don't know if they did correct machine work. I really don't. And I hate to say that about anybody's work, but you know, I bought this machine. It started for me one time. The second time I went to start it, it was a disaster. And then I start pulling it apart, and I'm finding leaking gaskets, and I'm finding fresh gaskets, and I'm finding things that were redone that maybe weren't done, you know, top notch. So that pony motor And you can see you can see what the oil in that pony motor looked like. Look at the amount of antifreeze that was in it, making the milky looking oil. That pony motor came off right here. And as you can see, there's a gear down in there. And that gear connects to this clutch lever, which connects to the big engine to start the big engine. That bracket right there, that will bolt on in place of the pony motor. And then in the back of my old Ranger over here, is a great big starter motor. See this great big starter motor? I mean gigantic starter motor, high torque. And that'll go on with a new factory Caterpillar gasket. And it will go on in this spot right here. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm taking a drill with a wire wheel on it and I'm cleaning the remnants of the old gasket off. Once I get that off, then I can start reassembling. I got to figure out where everything goes back together, and I'm going to have to make some brackets and do some things because things are changed, because there are brackets that bolted to the pony motor that no longer bolt because the pony motor is gone. So I just have to figure that out as I go. The big thing is to be able to get it where I can actually start the motor. I can actually spin it over with the electric motor and see if it spins the big motor over, which, fingers crossed, I don't know why it wouldn't. Because that's, like I said, so far that's what we figured out is that pony motor ran so poorly I couldn't get it running long enough to fire up the motor, and then it locked in place and wouldn't move, and that was the end of that. So and that's it. So now it's reassembly time. So I'll come back and show you what it looks like as I put each piece on. Okay, so here we are again. I have the new bracket installed on the deck of the transmission here. And I pulled the nuts off. Those 3 studs that are right there where the giant starter motor is going to bolt on. So that's the next step. So I'm going to bolt this giant starter motor on, and then I'll come back. So here it is, bolted on. I haven't started wiring anything yet, of course. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the floorboards put back in, and I'm going to start working on the dash. And what I mean by that is, I'll show you over on the other side. You see how this motor sticks way out here underneath these hydraulic lines. So over here on the ground on this side is my dashboard. That's this right here. It's got my oil pressure gauge in it and my water temperature gauge, which I'm going to go to the auto parts store and I'm going to replace both those gauges since I have this apart. But that starter motor is going to hit right about here. So I'm going to have to take a cutoff tool and I'm going to have to modify that dash before I can put it back in. Not a big deal. As you can see on the upper left there, it's already got a hole in it from the other starter that was in it that hit. So it's not a big deal. But that's what I got to do now that I have this in. Oh, I got one bolt I got to put on. It goes on the other side underneath over there, and it's a real pain. So I got to get to that and then tighten them up. But that's it. The new starter's actually in place and buttoned up. Now, because I took that old liquid cool pony motor off, you can see there is a antifreeze port right there. I have to make a plate for that. So I'm not like ready to start this thing yet, but it's coming together. So that's today's adventures in Caterpillar land. If you like what we're doing here on Growing Home Acres, give us a like, share, subscribe. I know sometimes we have videos on there that maybe guys like me don't like. You know, we have the gardening and stuff like that. But, you know, that's part of being on a homestead, being on a farm. Once I get this thing put back together and running, we're going to get some video of me pushing out a lot of this stuff and clearing this and making pasture land. So there'll be some exciting videos, some videos for the guys coming up too, not just videos for the wives. Again, like, share, subscribe, and have a blessed day.